And what's your current decision-making process like when it comes to capital allocation? Because now there's so many stuff going on. As you said, it's so important to diversify that how do you even know what you should be doing today, tomorrow, next month, next quarter?
I think for us, it's just like, yeah, it's a good question. I think, as you said, nowadays it really comes down to brand. And I think that also the ones that will survive that have a strong brand. But as you say, it's very hard. Should we invest more in brand during these times, or like for us, I think we had such good years during the pandemic because we are have a high share of e-com sales. But I think then 2022 came, which was so much more difficult, especially in Europe. We have all like the energy prices and so on, I guess, which yeah, so it may be even worse than US. So that was a quite hard year with the war and so on. Now 2023, I think for us the focus is getting back to black numbers and get the profitability in shape again. So that is really much like it's like the North Star of our decisions this year. Then I think next year hopefully will be more like, okay, we can prove that we are profitable again, and then we can
start growing again, start taking a lot more risks.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And but I don't know if that was answering our question. It's very difficult.
No, 100%. Because that is the big question, right? Is you need to start thinking about brands long term, and the best thing you can work on, and I think any consumer business is not only fashion, is your brand. But brand is a very long-term investment. You're not going to build brand. It's like building a human reputation. You're not going to build trust with others in 2 months. It takes a career to build a certain degree of reputation. And with branding, it's the same thing. And it's very high on investment. It's very high on the return long-term, but it's very tight on cash flow because it requires a lot of investment. So founders are in this position. So I know I need to make the right decision long term, but to make the right decision long term, I need the cash flow, and I don't have the cash flow, right? And there's no investors pumping money into the industry, right? So it's difficult. It's difficult. So what's your mindset on how to balance those two things?
I think we cannot leave it either. We still need to invest in brand, of course, and we have done this year. And think otherwise you will like self-die in a way. You will just like be cutting cost, and then revenue will fall, and then you cut more cost, and then you will like be down to your bone, and then you have nothing more to cut on. So I guess you also need to invest for the future, of course, and the brand, because that's as I said, after all, that's the most valuable thing you have. So we are trying, of course, to balance it, moving maybe also money from performance into branding. Also trying, for us, it's important now to take the step out of the digital landscape to show that we are something bigger. So that is like more offline maybe. But yeah, it's a act of balance. It's a thin line, and it's tough, I think. But it's also funny. I think it's good for us that we have been bootstrapped for such a long time. We haven't taken
the discipline.
That much of. Yeah, we have the discipline.
Yeah.
We haven't been that fat and happy either with investors' money. We have had some.
Yeah, you know what being hungry feels like.
Exactly. We've been hungry for quite a while. So I think I think we are quite well equipped for these times as well. So
of course. They have your investment banking expertise. So management of the process is going to be it's going to be very efficient if it needs to be. Wow. And what about small brands? What if you had to start all over again under this dilemma? How would you approach it? What would be your theory?
It's also hard because also you come into this brand, and then I guess nowadays if you would like start a new brand, it's I think you really need to be purpose driven and tap into a trend to get leverage on that, because it's also, I think it's easy to just say we want to be a premium brand and so on, but premium is also so expensive to build.
Of course, yeah, the upfront capital needed for that is huge.
Exactly, and everything you need to do needs to be like aligned with your premium expectations. So
more branding, more, which is money. Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess that's something that taps into some kind of trend that is like create some sort of feeling and community, but not necessarily are equals to like premium in terms of pricing and so on.
Right. Yeah. So
you need to have something accessible and also that is a bit forgiving in terms of branding package. Yeah.
So try to find something that creates a high level of emotional investment from your consumer perspective that is not premium, that requires maybe interesting. And
Yeah. But I think the long in like the end game could be premium, but I guess you need to take those steps, and as
you
long
have to build
like
the foundations. Yeah,
exactly, you have to build the foundation, you have to build cash flow, but you can of course like align your price, and that's what we have done also throughout the years. Like as the brand value grows, you can also like start to like increase those prices and margins, and also input like materials and so on, and but I think it's very hard to just start from scratch and build
yeah.
something that feels really premium.